I really wanted to go into finance after graduation because I felt it gives you a very good skill set to do whatever you want afterwards. It gives you a very good training basis in terms of finding out, how do you actually value a company, how do you do the accounting process for a company, and also it disciplines you to work in a very specific way because you have to work obviously a lot of hours a week, so it does train you to behave in a certain manner. But after 4 years in finance, I felt that it wasn't really my calling in life. Before going into business school, I knew I wanted to do something entrepreneurial, but I wasn't sure whether it was founding my own startup or joining a startup. Eventually, during business school, I found that HBS, the school that I went to, was very great in terms of the resources it offered to students in terms of, either from a financial point of view or from the professors, the courses that they taught. So it was a relatively smooth transition for me while at business school to being a startup founder. So I think business school teaches you both soft and hard skills. Soft skills like leadership skills, and more specifically, since a lot of business schools are pushing the entrepreneurial route agenda these days, there's a lot of courses that I took. For example, a course called Founder's Dilemma. It went through a lot of issues like should you have a co-founder? How should you think about the equity split amongst early employees? If you have difficult conversations, how should you go about them? And obviously building the team and finding the right people and retaining them is key to any startups, because for a startup, it's all about the people and the team. So those are very, very important skills. In terms of the hard skills, there were obviously, the accounting, the finance, and all the core curriculums. But then there were also a lot of entrepreneurial-related courses in, business schools throughout the world now. So, for example, they would show you, this is what a term sheet looks like. These are the terms you should look for in a term sheet. How do you structure an employee's contract and things like that. So, for me, like the curriculum was very, very good. But apart from the curriculum, obviously, there's also your classmates. A lot of my classmates came from startup backgrounds, or they went to startups afterwards, and it's always helpful to call on them to bounce ideas off or even partner with them. And the school resources as well. We joined the Harvard Venture Incubation Program, provide a lot of great advisors and mentors. They also gave us some funding, so that's always very important for a startup. When I was working in private equity, we did very in-depth due diligence into all of our companies. So we would meet with the management team, we would go visit the plants and factories, we would do a lot of expert calls to get smart about whichever industry we're looking at that particular point in time. Obviously, the companies that we did due diligence in was much more established, much larger than what FeedMeGuru currently is. But I think the issues that companies face is quite similar across the board. For example, how do you grow the top line? How do you manage costs? How do you manage to keep the bottom line at a very healthy level? And having looked at all these different business models operating in these different industries, plus doing all these case studies while at business school, really does help in terms of the strategic roadmap of how I should structure my own company, what kind of pitfalls to avoid, what lessons I can draw from other people. So in terms of building up a company, it's very important. I think the Bain Capital experience is very important. And of course, there's the fundraising side. So having operated on the other side of the table, thinking about what investors like to see in companies really helps when you're sitting on the other side of the table when you're trying to ask for money, because you know that investors are, for example, looking for these kind of returns. This is the methodologies that they look at when they're trying to value a company, and these are the things that they look for in a team. So having been on both sides of the table really does help.